victory. You be on fire, Kim. Woo! I could feel God just flowing through and out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness. Whew. That is some power here. I love the energy of this community. It just, what we can do together is going to be phenomenal. I know it, I feel it. Ooh, the song's still going on in my head, sorry. Gotta calm down. Well, last week when I did the talk here about change, I said to you that everything in life is change, everything. And so this week what we're going to do is we are going to culminate the work that we've been doing with Robert Brummett's book, Finding Yourself in Transition. And really the premise of that book is to support us in understanding that if we are alive, we are in the midst of change. If we are alive, we are in the midst of change. This is the one constant of life. Change is always occurring. Even if we think, if I just stop everything and sit here and don't move and don't engage, I can stop change. Like we haven't been there and done that. That's a myth. Change keeps happening. Change. Our bodies are constantly changing. Do you know that? Our bodies are constantly changing. Cells die and rejuvenate all on their own. Every 7 to 10 years, all of our cells die off and are replaced by brand new cells. And this happens without us doing anything, commanding anything. Like, okay, ear, it's your turn to now have your cells rejuvenated, go at it. No, right? It's an automatic way of life, energy, energy, energy. Change and renewal is a natural part of life. But as humans, we tend to resist change. We stomp our feet and say, no, one more thing. I can't deal with one more change. But if we're breathing, then change is happening. It's automatic. It's how energy works. Energy is a flow. Energy is life. Energy flows through everything and everyone. Energy is not static. So, us poor humans. You know, we look at this woman and we think, oh my gosh, so you think holding your breath in a yoga pose and putting your hand up is going to stop that shark? Well, we may say that she's crazy, but how many times do we in our own lives hold our breath and say, stop, stop, I refuse to accept what is. Even our very breath is change. Every time that we exhale, we are releasing carbon dioxide, and every time that we inhale, we are taking in oxygen. There is a renewal. In that air exchange, what happens is a release of our toxins. And it's happening whether we believe in it or not. Just facts. So if change is normal and a natural state of being, then why do we fear and resist change? Well, we fear the unknown. Humans enjoy that false sense of security and certainty and understanding how the world works and how is the order of things. We will wake up and make up untruths and false realities to make us feel certain that our beliefs are valid. Do you know some people like that? If we can create a desired result based on some formula in our mind, like one thought and one action equals enlightenment, we're like, woohoo, we figured it out, right? Or as this woman is holding her breath and putting her hand up to stop this shark, it gives us a false sense of security and confidence in our lives. Change disrupts the certainty. Change disrupts the certainty. We humans like our routines, our automatic ways of doing things, right? And that's why the pandemic was so tough for so many of us, because it disrupted our routines. We had to figure things out all over again. And we were not happy campers about it. So, this is why we have that instinct to push against change. Now, here in Unity and in New Thought communities, we consider ourselves spiritual seekers, meaning that we are folks who've made that choice to be fearless in awakening our spirituality and awakening our consciousness. But guess what? We don't want change either. And we can see evidence of this in our communities, right? A beloved minister leaves, what's the first thought? Oh, there's fear. Something's going to change. Things are going to change. A new minister comes in. Our first thought is, oh, fear. Oh, something's going to change. And guess what? Of course, the answer is yes. It will change. Everything is change. Life means change. And when I first arrived at Unity Church of the Hills, there was this level of excitement that as a community, we were going to become this activated force field of love in the community. And yet, there was this hope that, well, maybe we could transform by just keeping everything stasis. I was lovingly inundated with information about previous successes, the way things were done at UCOH, how they needed to be, and I understood underneath this loving siege of helpfulness was the fear of the unknown, the fear of the unknown. And this is what happens when we find ourselves in transition. Transition occurs when a major event happens in our lives. Transition is the process or the period of time from one state or condition to the next. And here's the thing, we cannot rush this process either. We can't put it on our time clock. We can't say, fine, I guess I'll have to go through transition, but I'm giving it 3 months, right? All we're going to do when we try to do that is frustrate ourselves and everyone involved. Transition has certain elements that occur over time and requires that we put our trust in divine order. And part of that trust means knowing that this transition time, as uncomfortable as it may feel, as uncertain as it is, as fearful as we may feel, is for us. It's for us, for our good and for our highest growth. So having a minister leave and then a new minister arrives automatically places the community, the spiritual community, in the process of transition. And I mentioned before that this is a fertile time for all involved, but it can also be really uncomfortable, right? Because the old way has been disrupted. The old way of doing things has been disrupted. But it's also a time of immense creativity, expansion, and possibilities. If we allow it. If we allow it. In the book, Finding Yourself in Transition, Brummett mentions that there's 3 phases that we go through. One is the ending, then the void, and then the new beginning. So last week I talked about ending and the void, and so I'll just give you the definition that he has for new beginning. A true new beginning will occur only after we have completed the inner work that is part of the previous stages. Did you hear that? New beginning only happens after we have completed the inner work that is part of the previous stages. New beginnings often occur in unexpected ways. Did you know that this community has been in transition for about 5 years? 5 years. That's a long time for a community to be in transition. And then I started calculating. And then I realized I'm the 6th minister you've had in 5 years. I'm the 6th minister you've had in 5 years, right? Because the Grandins came in, so that's Brian and Kristen. And then after they left, Rev Steve came back for a short period of time. And then Reverend Ross came in, had a health challenge. And then Rev Eliza came in, and now I'm here. When you hear that, what do you feel? What do you think? I heard damn, yes. What else? What else? Wow, yes. Yes. That's a lot of change. And you're still here. Hear that. And you're still here. Because there is a resilience in this community. There is a stream of love in this community, and I want you to give yourselves a round of applause. You're still here. You are still here. So do you think with all of that change going on in 5 years that you've had the opportunity for stability? I don't think so. I don't think so. And we need that stability to really figure out who we are and where we plan to go. So this is why it's so vital for us to do this work, to understand what experiences have happened here that have impacted the community. And so that's why on May 6th and 7th, we're going to be having an intense workshop called HOP-COF, which stands for Honoring Our Past and Creating Our Future. HOP-COF. We're having a consultant come in. Maybe some of you remember David Mosher. He came and spoke here a while ago, and he is a consultant, and David is someone that I personally know. David's church, when he left, that was my first church out in Lawrence, Kansas. So I got to know him and his wife, Edna, who's also a minister, really, really well. And I can tell you that David not only has skills, but he walks with authenticity and integrity and is unafraid to call what he sees. And that's why I just think he's the best choice to come out here. So that is May 6th and 7th. So it'll be the evening of May 6th and all day on the 7th. Please put that in your calendar, because you may be thinking, well, yeah, a lot's changed and lots happened in our community, but what you don't realize is all of that creates a residual energy. It's a residual energy that's created from those experiences. And even though intellectually we go, yeah, we know it's all energy, we're all divine, blah, 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 we get surprised when energy impacts us. So we want to do this work so that we can, as a community, decide what is our future. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, that was before my time. I'm a newbie. I don't have to deal with that. Or you may be thinking, you know what? I wasn't involved, so I'm out of that too. You may even be thinking, I was Switzerland doing the whole thing. I was so neutral. So I don't have to participate. Well, here's the thing. Whether you're an active participant, whether you weren't here, whether you were Switzerland, you are here now in this community, and this community is a family system. This community is a family system. So that means energetically, you're impacted. Got it? And so for us to do this necessary work to create anew, it's going to take all of us, because you're going to bring, if you're new, this is the perfect time to be here, because we are in that place of rebuild. And so what that means is you bring your love, you bring your outside visions, your insights, and your passions, and we get to listen as we create a new community filled with love and inclusion. Brummett says this: the old must be released, but we must learn the lesson of each experience before we completely let it go. It cannot be released until it is melted down and consumed in our consciousness. It must be transmuted and assimilated through awareness, acceptance, and forgiveness. We may believe that we've done our healing already, but if we're still holding on to the past in resistance to what is, then we've not transmuted or forgiven. And that's the goal. That's the real goal of healing work. So here I am, after all those minister changes, minister number 6. So you now can call me, hey, Minister 6. What am I doing here? I'm here really to support you. I'm here to support you and be the love, and just know that you are safe here in this community. And mine is to call you to your highest self. That's my personal passion and my call, right? And so when we come together, there is this magnetic attraction to do this work together. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. And we are kind of in the void right now. You know, it's uncomfortable. We're not sure. We're not certain. We don't know what it's going to look like. But if we are able to be spiritually mature, we can allow us to be guided during this time, to be divinely guided during this time, because this is a time of deconstruction to reconstruction. We can't build unless we know what's going on, unless we have the plans, unless we've dug through the foundation to see what's there to rebuild. And that's where we are right now. And my friends, we are resilient. You've proven already that you're resilient. You're equipped to do this work. So the promised land. The promised land is real, but it is not a destination. It's a state of consciousness. The promised land is knowing of truth that we are all of God. The promised land calls us to be the light of the world. The promised land resides in the frequency of love. And during the transition process that we're on together, it's a time of awakening to the truth. We are not alone. We are not separated from God or from each other. And that we are being called to step out in faith. So this time that we're in the void can be a time of great spiritual awakening. It's a time of being the vessel, holding it open so that it can be filled by Spirit. So I invite you to embrace this time. Brummett clarifies that crises precedes transformation. Did you hear that? Crises precedes transformation in the global scheme of the macrocosm. And so crisis precedes transformation in the life of the individual in the microcosm. Crisis itself, however, does not automatically produce transformation. The crucial factor lies in the way we handle our crisis, our attitude towards it. So what if we change and reframe? What if we looked at crisis as a circumstance that is calling us higher? That simple reframing would then have us changing our mindset from fear to anticipation, knowing that we are seeing past the human lens of tragedy, of separation, of division, to viewing the crisis through the lens of our divinity, that this crisis is calling us to transmute and transform. It's a call to let go of your false beliefs that we can control anything, and to surrender to Spirit. And we do this work all without condemnation or denial. You know, I can tell you that I've had a recent time in transition, and I had to look at my own beliefs. Yeah, that was me, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I know that I've shared with you the story of when I heard it was time to leave that community. I thought I would just immediately kind of jump into the next community, and I said to myself, I'll give it 3 months. I was being generous. Well, when month 9 came rolling around, and I still did not have a community, I still did not have my tribe, I was beside myself. So, Miss Capable, Miss Manifester decided to force doors, push and force doors to try to open, and they were solidly shut. And then into the void I go, right? Confused, unsure. And I had to look at the beliefs that I held, and I had to undo some of those beliefs. The beliefs that I had about what success and wholeness looks like. I had to redefine success. And then I surrendered. And during that time of being surrendered, it was a really amazing, fruitful time for me, believe it or not. I mean, it's like there was all this creative explosion that happened in and around me. It was a time that I first published my article. I wrote a book. I realized that there was transitional ministry, and I got fully trained and certified in that. And then I had a community that I did transitional work with. Oh, all while traveling across the country. Talk about a juicy time. Just in surrendering. Just in surrendering. So, and all of that prepared me to be here now. To be able to be with you now. Brummett wrote this from Marilyn Ferguson. Conflict, pain, tension, fear, paradox. These are transformations trying to happen. Once we confront them, the transformative process begins. That's a pretty powerful quote, isn't it? So there's an immense level of transformation that occurs when we embrace change, whether it's a pandemic, relationship, work life, spirituality. It's all change. It's all change. And ours is to be mindful of what those conscious gifts are going to be on the other side. Because there are gifts on the other side, my friend. So here's the thing I want you to walk away with. You are in the right and perfect place. This is the right and perfect time. Here, now. Now you've said yes to being here, so I'm inviting you to be bold, to be inquisitive. Because you know what? Change is going to happen. It's going to happen. So you can be in resistance to it and be miserable and make other people around you miserable. Or you can be in acceptance and wonder and in awe of what's coming. So the choice, my friends, always free choice, yours. Blessings.